You're listening to the Paranormal Peeps on the Darkcast Network. Come to the dark side of indie podcasts with the Darkcast Network.
We have cookies. Between the realm of the dead and the journeys of the living, join Josh, Jamey, and Elisa as they delve into the vast world of the paranormal and breathe life back into the history of the departed.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Jamey.
And I'm Elisa.
This isn't...
This isn't a drill, people. She's really here.
It's an oddity, I know.
That makes two in a row. Oh, my goodness.
That's all you're going to get.
And
So
we won't see her again
rude.
until Christmas.
So rude.
So last episode was our Paranormal Origins Part 2. And tonight is the final segment of it.
It is? Who's going?
You, my dear.
Nope.
You.
I don't know what you're talking about. I got nothing.
Well, we're about to find out. A whole hour of nothing.
Buckle up, everybody. It's a whole hour of nothing.
All you can hear is beep.
Dude, nuh-uh.
It's like
I don't have that much energy.
it's like when the end of the programming used to happen. You just get that tone and
Yep.
the little bars come up.
Or we can do like the AOL startup.
Or just a
Dial up.
or a Microsoft blue screen of death.
Yeah, but people can't see. This is hearing, not visual.
Oh, that's true.
So how does that work?
They're gonna just have to imagine it.
Okay.
So tell us, Jamie, where does your origin begin?
Well, it all began
4
fourscore and
7.
many years ago. I don't want to give away too much. So the furthest back that I can remember, I was probably about, I'd say 4 years old. And I had, and I don't know that this is paranormal, but this is something that really scared the daylights out of me. I'd have a recurring dream
Yep.
every single night, like without fail. This was a nightly dream every single night. And there would be this big brown book that would descend, right?
Yep.
And then it would open up. And then a single hair, like a hair off your head,
Yeah.
would float down into the crease of the book. And the book would slam shut very violently. And when the book slammed shut, then it would kind of go upright. And I could see what the book was. And in big, like, it wasn't really gold. It would be more like yellow, big yellow capital letters. It said Bible. And this went on for, I mean, I don't know how long, but it was a nightly dream every night.
So what made it scary?
I have no idea.
Just the vibe of it was scary?
Yeah, it scared me so bad.
Because I had not that dream, but
Yeah.
I had a reoccurring dream when I was really young that happened for years. And it was the
Yeah.
same dream over and over and over again.
Yeah, just repeats.
Yeah. And it was
Every single
terrifying.
night without fail.
Yeah.
And I guess it was just the vibe. I don't know why it scared me so bad, but it really scared me bad. And to this day, I couldn't tell you why.
Well, what I'm wondering is, even though it said Bible on it, they say that, you know, you have your own book of life
Right.
in heaven, right? And everything you do is recorded
Yeah.
in your book. And that's because the hair, I'm wondering if it was like to represent like your hair.
Right.
But that wouldn't be a scary thing. You know
No.
what I mean? Like,
Well, right. And I don't know if it's just because I was so young and I didn't understand that it was terrifying.
but at the same time, it's like you go off what you feel.
Yeah. And it was.
And
it
if
was
it feels
terrifying.
scary, it's scary.
Yeah.
You just don't know why.
I just don't know why. So I don't know if that really falls under like it doesn't really fall under like necessarily a paranormal, but it's
Definitely
Right.
different.
so when I was young too, I also remember, and this is still around the same age, 4, maybe 5. My mom a lot of times would drop my brother and I off at my grandparents' house, and she would go to work, And my grandma, a lot of times we would kind of walk up back on their neighbor's property, way back up there. And sometimes we go across the street in the front of their house. And I don't know if that property was owned by anybody. It was really overgrown, but it had like raspberry and blackberry bushes up there. And so my grandma would take us up there and we'd pick the blueberries, blackberries, raspberries and stuff, and we'd eat them. I remember though that like my grandma, you know, I wasn't always right next to her because we were kind of out in the country. It was safe, you know, and she'd walk kind of one way. My brother would be over another way and I'd kind of wander off my own way and I wouldn't go too far. But I'd be picking like the berries off the bushes and stuff. And all of a sudden I would hear like the sound would change around me, right? It wasn't really like staticky, but it would change. It was different. And I would hear what sounded like a massive herd of horses running. Like they were coming up behind me. And it would always scare me. Like it was loud. It was obvious what that sound is because I grew up with horses.
Yeah.
I knew what the sound of thundering hooves was. You know, I knew that sound very well. And I would hear this. Well, there's no cattle. There's no cows. There's no horses on this property. It wasn't fenced in or anything. There was none of that, you know, because the overgrowth was so much, you know, like if there was animals there,
You wouldn't have that overgrowth.
you wouldn't have that overgrowth that was about as tall as I was at the time, you know. But anytime we went across the street over in that area, at some point or another, I would hear thundering hooves. And I could never really, it sounded like they were coming up from behind, but there were times where I couldn't distinguish what direction it was coming from. But it would scare me because I'd look around because I'm thinking I'm going to get run over by these big animals, you know, and I would turn around, I'd look and I would see nothing and the sound would stop.
That's interesting. So how long would that sound go on for?
I
Was
don't
it
know.
just like a few seconds?
Yeah, it wasn't super long. It was never like an extended period of time, but it was obvious what the sound was. It went on long enough for me to know
Recognize it, yeah.
and what that sound is. So that would happen quite often when we went across the street, but only when we went across the street on the one side.
Huh.
That's interesting. It makes me wonder if it was something like,
Residual.
yeah,
Like many years ago, wild horses.
yeah,
You know, maybe indigenous people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's strange though. That I mean, residual does make sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's strange that it happens when you go over there every time.
Well, yeah, I remember asking my brother and I remember asking my grandma if there were any horses around. And she's like, no, nothing's fenced in. There's no horses here. And I would tell her I heard horses. And she's like, what, you heard them like talking? And I'm like, you know, like whinnying? And I said, no, I heard them running. She's like, there's no horses. She goes, I didn't hear anything. So
yeah.
I knew that it was, you know, and the more it happened, the more I realized I'm the only one hearing this, you know, and I was like 4 or 5. So definitely different.
Definitely
different. But as I got older and stuff, I had other experiences that I don't know. I guess at the time, you know, sometimes things happen and you kind of go, oh, that's weird. Right. And then you don't really think about it anymore. Yeah. But one time, and I think I've kind of touched on this in past episodes. I was about 16 and sometimes my grandparents would go out of town and they had horses at the time up at the barn. And they always liked to have somebody stay there when they were going to be gone for more than a day to kind of watch over their property because they live on 5 acres. There were no close neighbors at the time anywhere around them. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere at
Didn't
that
they have
time.
animals? Didn't they have animals?
Horses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they had horses. So I said, I'll stay there, you know, because I go up and feed in the morning and the evening. And I remember being a little nervous being there. I was only 16, but I was a little nervous about being there on my own because when it gets dark out there, it gets dark and there's lots of woods, right?
Cougars.
Oh yeah, there's cougars, even moose at times.
A flock of moosin.
A flock of moosin. But I was really nervous about staying out there. And I remember before it got dark, I went up and I fed the horses and I made sure their trough was full. And then I went down and my grandparents have like this big circular driveway, right? You come in one gate and you can kind of go up to the house and then go down another the other part of the driveway and go out the lower gate. So I went out and I locked the one gate because the other one at the other side was already locked. And I locked it. And I went in the house and I shut the garage and I made sure all the doors were locked. And I remember being really nervous about staying by myself. No neighbors. Felt like the middle of nowhere. Felt like in the middle of the woods, right? If anything were to happen, I was kind of on my own.
This is like a thriller book.
A little bit.
It's how
Alone
it starts.
in the woods.
And I was nervous. And so I went downstairs into the basement, which, we call like the rec room, us old folks. And my grandpa had like one of those big projection TVs down there. Like it's like about as tall as I am. And they're huge. And they have the floodlights, in the ceiling and stuff. And so I remember turning on the lights and turning on the TV. And instead of going into, they had a bedroom down there. One of the rooms was a bedroom and it was my grandma's Victorian room. And I didn't want to sleep in there because she had this mannequin in there that was wearing this old, like, very pretty Victorian dress. She had this mannequin dressed in this outfit and with a hat and it had a wig on its head. And I was like, I'm not staying. I'm not
You're
staying
like,
in
that's
there.
a whole lot of nope for
That's
me.
a whole lot of nope because the way the bed was, and it's one of those sleigh beds, she's kind of not really right at the foot of the bed. She's by the closet. But if you're laying in the bed and you open your eyes, what are you going to see? You see her first. You see this mannequin.
Nope.
And I'm like, yeah, so no. So I'm where the TV's at in the next room over in the big area of the rec room. And I decide I'm just going to lay on this couch. And I kept the floodlights on.
Of course.
And I have the TV on. And at some point, even though I was really nervous, I fell asleep. Well, I remember waking up startled. And as I woke up, there was like this coffee table next to the couch and it had like the really sharp corners, like the really pointy corners, right? And I remember waking up with a start and I sat up really fast and I hit the back of my hand on the corner of that coffee table, right?
Ouch.
But when I sit up and I look over at this white leather recliner that they have that's kind of by the couch, there's this woman standing there. And she is dressed in Victorian clothing. She has a parasol. And I remember looking at her and I'm like terrified. But all of a sudden, I hear her voice in my head. Her lips aren't moving, but she's talking to me. And in like this really gentle voice, she says, "It's okay. I know you were nervous about staying here on your own. And I'm just here to watch over you and to let you know you're fine.
Goodness.
And there's nothing to worry about." And she's like, "I want you to lay back down and go to sleep." And this calm washed over me. Like I was like, it was so peaceful. I wasn't scared anymore of her, of anything. And I did exactly what she told me. Like a little kid, like when your parents tell you, now lay back down and go to sleep.
No way.
I laid back down on the couch. I rolled over and I must have drifted off. So when daylight comes and I wake up.
You're like, did this even happen?
Right, exactly. And that's the first thing I was like, whoa, that was a really, really vivid dream. This is like, wow, that was crazy. But my hand was hurting. So I look at my hand and there's a scratch on my hand from where I hit it on the corner of that coffee table. And then I'm like,
Uh-oh.
whoa, maybe there's more to this than what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is that mannequin in that Victorian room, okay, while the woman that I saw in the middle of the night didn't look like that mannequin, she was, however, wearing the exact dress that the mannequin had on.
No.
So when I asked my grandma where that Victorian dress came from, she said she got it at an old thrift shop. It was in an old trunk. And she bought it for the purpose of putting it on this mannequin. So I'm wondering, did this dress once belong to the woman I saw that night?
That's very well could have been.
Because she didn't look like the mannequin, but the dress was the same.
Well, and what's interesting too, that you noted that her lips weren't moving.
Mm-mm.
But
I heard her in my head.
But that's what I find over and over and over and over again is that they don't generally speak with using their mouth and their voice box.
Yeah.
It's from brain to brain, you know, and it's like they communicate to you in that way. I find that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And at that age, I'm sure you wouldn't have known that.
No, absolutely. I didn't know that. Not at that age.
Yeah.
See, I've been fascinated with the paranormal since before that, but I never really took an active role in it.
Right.
Until my later years, of course. But what got me really interested in the paranormal was when my brother brought home a paranormal book from his school library. And I think I was in 4th grade at the time. And I remember he brought this book home and he showed me, like, the first picture I seen that he showed me was the Brown Lady of Rainham Hall. Mm-hmm. And that has stuck with me all my life. And I remember I took his book and I read that thing. And I was fascinated by all the things that I read in there about spirits and apparitions and, you know, and all those things. But I never really took that active of a role until, like I said, my later years. But I always had the interest. But at 16, when this event happened at my grandparents' house, I didn't know. Like, I had no idea that, you know, I never even thought, like, why can I hear her in my head, but her lips aren't moving? I never drew the correlation to any of it at all. And I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Until much, much later.
Right.
But it just all fit, you know. I had another incident, and this was when Josh was deployed to Iraq.
Yep.
Yep. I had an incident where I had moved from Minnesota. Well, we had our son, and at the time he was only 3 months old when I packed everything up. My mom came down, and we drove from Minnesota back to Washington State. And I lived with my grandparents for maybe a month and a half. And I realized I need to get an apartment, you know, to have my own space and stuff. And so I got like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. And I remember I was worried about Josh because you hear all these stories of loved ones not coming home and all the horrific things that happen. So, you know, it kind of became, you know, and I hate to say it was routine, but it really did kind of become routine that, you know, I would go about my day. I wouldn't give it a lot of thought. But once I was like back home and I would feed Azariah, give him a bath, you know, get his jammies on, put him in his crib, you know, I'd rock him to sleep and then I'd put him in his crib. And then at that time I would go into my room and shut the door and I would just cry because I was so worried. I missed Josh and I was so worried he wasn't coming home. And I would cry a lot. And I didn't have a TV or anything in my room. There was only TV out in the living room. But I remember one night as I was sitting there and I was crying and worrying and I heard a voice in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a man's voice. And it was a very powerful voice. But it had this really kind of gentle, nurturing tone, right? That says, don't worry, I'm going to bring him home safe.
Oh my goodness. How comforting.
And I stopped crying. And it's not that I never worried or cried again.
Oh, sure.
But it wasn't the same. And it wasn't like I wasn't consumed with that because it just stuck with me, you know, like glue. It just stuck with me to this day. And he did. He come home just fine. So
I love hearing stories like that because it doesn't have to be all scary and hard things. You
Exactly.
know, there's so much good that you can have
that you can hang
experience.
on to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was amazing, actually. I'll never forget it. Like
Both of those experiences are really, really cool.
So another one, Old Montana State Prison. So this was the first time we went with 3 of my sisters and then my dad.
That was so cold.
It was so cold.
It was 18 degrees.
It was 18 degrees out. You know, it was very cold. It was actually kind of miserable, but we were in max security. And that's where they used to put the women over there. And we were over there. And I remember my dad and my sister Nicole, they went into one of the jail cells that was at the very end.
On the left?
Yeah, they were sitting in there. And then Josh and the security lady that ran it and her assistant, Lisa.
Yep.
And Azariah. They were up by the cage where the guard would be in. You know, it was
Yeah.
like all fenced in. And and Josh was over there and he was doing something with the camera over there. So he was about, I'd say 20 feet away from me. Wasn't about 20 feet.
Ish, 15
It was
maybe.
It was a ways away from me.
It was far enough away that I didn't hear you say anything if you were talking.
Yeah. So, and I was so cold, you know, and I got my scarf and my gloves and my coat on. And I had my hands inside my pocket. And in my right hand, I had my flashlight. I was hanging on to it and I had my thumb on the button, but it's in my pocket. I'm standing there kind of trying to bury my face and neck down into my scarf. And I was so tired because my son I found, because we took our son, he was like, what, 14?
13.
13. And he wanted to go to see what this was all about, but he was so scared. And earlier that night, he'd been hanging on me, like putting his head on my shoulder and his arm around my arm. And I felt like he just sucked my energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was feeling so tired. I'm standing in the middle of the floor and I'm like closing my eyes with my hands in my pockets and my head's kind of tipped down towards my feet. And I feel what I thought was my husband come up to my right shoulder and kind of stand with his chest to my right shoulder. But then I get this.
So wait, are you standing?
I'm standing.
Yeah, there were no chairs. We
There's
were
no
all
chairs.
standing.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's like 20 feet away from me.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. I thought he walked over and he kind of put his chest hit my right shoulder.
So you could like lean up against him?
Well, no, yeah, if I wanted to, but it's like he came up to my shoulder and his chest hit my shoulder. So,
Oh,
and whoever this was tall.
okay.
And Josh was the tallest one.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, this is my husband. I'm still like got my hands in my pocket and I'm still got my eyes closed and I'm, got my head bent down towards my feet, and I go, is that you? Because I got this weird feeling after like a couple seconds and I'm like, is that you? And I hear man's voice goes, mm-hmm. And then all the hair stands up. And so I pull, still with my head down.
Mm-hmm.
I open up my eyes. I'm looking down at my feet. Can't really see my feet. I pull the flashlight that's in my right hand out of my pocket and I click it on, looking down at my feet, right? And then I move the light next to me to my right. There's nobody there. There's no other feet. I look up. I look to my right. Nobody's there. Josh is still over 20 feet away from me with the tour guide and Lisa and Azariah. And my dad and sister Nicole are down at the end. And I look over at Josh and I go, was that you that was just over here? And he's like, no. And I asked everybody. Nobody had moved. Nobody had came over to me.
Well, and it's a cement floor. You would have heard
Something. I never heard footsteps approaching or leaving. I just felt like somebody's chest or touch my arm. I had
and then
no
you hear
idea.
the mm-hmm.
A male. But when I heard the voice, when I said, is that you? And the male goes, mm-hmm. That's when I really, like, the hair is just like.
Isn't it funny that our bodies can detect that
It is.
without seeing anything?
Yeah. It was so weird.
It's like your personal alert system.
Oh, exactly. Your body is your best tool, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And then so I didn't believe it when Josh says no, because when I asked him, he's like, no, that wasn't me. I'm like, nah. And for the longest time, I told him, I was like, I know that was you. That had to be you. It's like, I don't know who I was trying to convince, him or myself.
Probably yourself.
But when he went over the footage, when he got to that part, he brought me over and he's like, okay, I want you to look at this. And so I watched the footage and yeah, there was nothing. It wasn't him. It wasn't anybody else. It was nothing.
Could you hear you talking?
I don't remember. That was years ago. That was back in, when was that? That's the first time we ever investigated the old Montana State Prison. When was that? 20 what?
Oh my gosh. When did we go to Waverly? 2017?
Yeah, we went to Waverly in 2017.
It was 2017. It was December or November to 2017.
Yeah.
November?
Yeah, because we did.
Oh, it was freezing.
We
That sounds like
did.
a terrible decision.
Oh, it was.
In weekends back to back. It was the first weekend in November. We did Old Montana. And then the following weekend, we did Lava Hot Springs.
Yeah.
Both times, it was 18 degrees was the warmest.
Yeah.
It was single digits at Lava Hot Springs as we're doing a dowsing rod session by the pools.
As your dowsing rods are freezing to your hands.
Right. Well, yeah, but Old Montana was neat. That's back when you could still investigate the theater. that it's fallen apart and they won't let you in there now. But Josh and I went in there and did the theater, and we got an EVP that sounds like the trap door to the gallows, because that's in there, opening, and it sounds like someone dropping, and it sounds like someone gurgling.
Ugh.
And we caught that EVP in there.
It's one of the only paranormal episodes we actually have on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, it is. And well, we also caught, coming out of the theater too, we caught an EVP too, as you and I were just casually talking.
Yep.
Coming out, I don't remember what that one said either, but
It's been a pretty long day or something like that.
yeah, but we caught that one, and yeah, that was pretty fun though. And we've been back 4 other times since then.
Yeah.
Every time's different.
You know, though, you had that experience at your grandma's house.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the only experience you've ever had in that house, in the basement.
Well, you're gonna have to remind me.
The one where we were...
Oh no,
You
never
remember.
mind. I
She
remember
knows.
now.
Go
No,
ahead.
you don't have to, dude. I forgot about that one. That one.
I have never forgotten about that one. That one terrified me.
I'm glad I did not whiz the bed down there. But yes, Josh and we were visiting, and we stayed in that Victorian room down in the basement.
Is that mannequin still there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
To this day.
It's still
Same
creepy
dress,
as ever,
too.
too.
Same dress.
Was there a purpose to this mannequin?
Yeah, my grandma wanted it just to display some of her Victorian dresses, but that's the only one that's been on it for
Years?
decades. But Josh and I were sleeping in the bed, and now this is a full size bed, and Josh is really tall, so you know it's hard for him to fit in this bed.
I don't fit.
Mm-mm. So we sleep like, big spoon, little spoon.
Yeah.
So I'm laying on my right side, and he's spooning me like that. And on that side, on my side of the bed, on the right side of the bed, there's a sliding glass door. Now, that wasn't always there. My grandparents put that in, years later, they put that in. But we were sleeping, and all of a sudden, Josh's arm's like around my waist, and all of a sudden, he's like, honey, 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 like panicking. And he's got his arm around my waist, and he's pulling me back towards him, away from the right side of the bed. He's nearly fallen off the other side of the bed, right? He's pulling me back, and I open up my eyes, and I see 3 figures. They're all black. And it's almost like it's a family, because there's a taller one.
Like a dad?
Yeah, like a dad. Then there's like a mom. Then there's like a kid, right? And not a really little kid, but still, it's a kid.
Yeah.
But you can't see anything. It's like they're silhouettes, and they're all black. You can't make out any features, but you can tell it's a human figure, that they're human figures.
Right.
And he's like, honey, honey, honey. He's pulling me back. And I'm like, I see him. I see him. I see him. And they're coming towards my side of the bed. And then I like blink, and they're gone. And so we get up. We turn on the lights. We're like stunned. Like, we don't know what just happened or what that was.
And this was before we started investigating. So I was still terrified of this stuff.
So Josh, how did you even know they were there? What woke you up?
I don't know.
Yeah, because he woke me up.
I have no idea. I just opened my eyes and looked.
Were they walking towards you when you woke up, or were they just standing there?
No, so from what I can remember, I caught them walking through the slider, like walking into the house.
Right. And when he was waking me up in the panic, and I opened up and I seen them, they were at the slider, but they were already through the slider, and they were moving, like gliding, not like walking, but like gliding towards my side.
Oh my gosh.
Really slowly. Like they weren't coming fast.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm like, I see him. I see him. And then I blink. They're gone. We get up. We turn on the lights. We're trying to make sense of what the heck just happened. I think we go upstairs, we get a drink, we come back down, and we were up, I think, the rest of the night mostly, and we left the lights on all night.
We didn't sleep in the room. We actually went to the rec room, turned the lights on in the rec room, turned the TV on.
I don't remember that.
Not the big TV, because that no longer works.
Oh, that.
There was a small TV on top of the big TV.
There was like a 19-inch TV.
Yeah.
Because that big TV weighs like 150 pounds, and no one's getting that sucker out of the house.
No.
But
I just remember we left the lights on.
We left the lights on, and we stayed there. We ended up falling asleep sometime hours later.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Maybe
Probably as the sun was coming
yeah,
up.
probably. We slept for a little bit down there, but
well, what's really interesting
and
about
I think that was
this-
before we had our kid, right? I'm pretty sure.
No, we had Azariah.
Okay, then he was little.
He was very little. But Yeah, because he was sleeping upstairs with his great grandma and grandpa.
Oh, that's right. He would sleep in their room in the pack and play.
Yeah. But what's interesting about this is when my mom was growing up, that used to be her room, and she had a brass bed in there. And she said when she was about 15, I think she was 15 or 16, she said she woke up and she said there were her brass bed had like these balls at the foot of the bed, like on each side.
So like
And
bed
it
knobs
had-
and broomsticks.
Yeah, exactly. But they're like this.
Oh, they're
Like,
big.
They're big. And she said she woke up one night and there were angels that were floating kind of up by the ball at the end of the bed, right? Each ball at the end of the bed. But they were dressed all in black and they had black wings. And they were telling her that it was time for her to go. And she says, I remember like floating up a little bit and then saying, no, I'm not going. This isn't my time. I'm not going.
What?
So it makes me wonder, like, is there any correlation to those two things? The same room, different experiences, of course. But my mom had an experience in that room.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's just was creepy in itself.
Well, what's interesting is that they're black.
Well, and that's why she said, she told them, no, I'm not going. It's not my time. I'm not going.
Well, and then the family that you guys saw,
What we think is a family, we don't know.
right? But that's kind of the vibe. We'll just call them family. The family that you saw was black.
But I couldn't see any features.
But it was dark. So like,
Right.
it's catching a shadow in the dark, which is still
But you know,
weird when you think about it.
like when you've experienced this enough, there's black and then there's black.
Right. There's a difference.
There's a
Right.
difference.
Yeah.
And you think that you're in pitch black, but you're not.
No, because whatever these were, they were blacker than pitch black.
Yes.
Because I could make them out very clearly as far as
Yes.
the silhouette.
And it always makes me wonder, like, why? Why are there some that we see that are full of color that look completely normal?
Yeah.
And why are some silhouettes?
That's a great question. I don't know.
And why are some only balls? Orbs.
It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. But
Yeah.
Orbs, balls.
yes.
Sure.
But it makes me wonder if it's like the people that we see that are full color and full human like, if they're the ones that have crossed over, right?
Right.
And the ones that are all in black have not.
Right. Good question.
But I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like,
Nope.
I mean, that's the best sense that I can make of it.
Yeah.
Right? But who knows? Who really knows?
Yeah, I think until it's our time, we're not going to know. 'Cause
I know.
We're not meant to.
It's a guessing game.
Yeah.
You can
That's-
try to
that's really
put
all it
puzzle
is.
pieces together, but you'll never have the full puzzle.
No.
No.
It doesn't
You'll
matter.
always be missing
I
some
don't care
pieces.
how good you are. I don't care how good of a medium you are or whatever. You think you might have all the puzzle pieces, but you don't.
You don't.
You don't.
You're not meant to at that point.
And more than likely, you only have like 6.
It's a 1,000-piece puzzle, and you probably have 6.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that does make sense.
You got the easiest 6, like that big face that's always that's in the center of the puzzle. You got that.
But that's all you got?
Like, I got so much. Like, we don't know what we don't even know.
Yeah. Well, exactly. But yeah, I've always been fascinated, and there is a draw to the paranormal.
It's the unknown for sure.
It's very much the mystery behind it, the how, the what, the who.
And you want to solve the puzzle?
Yeah. And I think that, like Josh was really apprehensive. I mean, our first place that he and I went was Waverly. This was no small place to investigate. This was a well-known, documented for its hauntings,
Huge
and
place.
a huge building. And that was his first experience. I convinced him to go, and we flew to Kentucky, and he was nervous going in, but me, I'm looking at this building like, get out of my way, let me in.
Right.
you know? And I remember as we were standing there dividing into groups, I looked up and I saw somebody looking out one of the windows. And when I looked at them, they like whipped their head back.
Like, oh crap, you
Yeah.
saw me.
Yeah. And I was so excited to get in there. And we had some great experiences in there.
What else happened there?
Well, let's see. One of the things that happened there was, of course, everybody knows about Nurse Mary up on the 5th floor.
Yep.
So we were actually up on, what floor were we on at that time, though, when we got that EVP? That really good one. Was that 4 or was that
No, it's 5.
So we were up on 5. And my dad's side of the family, most of them really love the paranormal. And they were so excited that Josh and I were getting to go and do this big venue. And so I had promised them I would Facebook Live. And so that's what I did. And Josh and I were in this one room. And I kind of walked off. And you, on the recording, you can hear me in the background talking on Facebook Live to my family. And Josh is kind of just sitting along one of the walls. And he's got a digital recorder. And of course, we didn't hear it at the time, you know, because typically you don't. But when we got back to the hotel early that next morning, he was listening and he heard this woman's voice come over the digital recorder. And it says, "I love the way you love each other." And she says a whole nother sentence, but we could only make out the words "turning into." And we have tried to make out what that second sentence is. We still have not been able to figure that out at all. But that was like a Class A EVP. It's probably my favorite one to date still.
Well, again, it's a good, positive EVP.
Yeah.
And it's intelligent. It's talking to you
Yes.
and acknowledging you as a couple.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, quick recap, the story goes is that she had she got pregnant by a doctor.
Yeah, they think by one of the surgeons.
And it was a botched abortion. And she died.
Yeah.
And because he didn't want her to have the baby, because I think it was an affair.
And it probably was an affair. And back then, you know, it was very much frowned upon if you got pregnant out
Of wedlock.
of wedlock.
Yeah.
And that was her very situation. And he rejected her. He didn't, like, even though she was pregnant, he totally rejected her. And I think part of her, because they say she committed suicide, but there's a story that they think it was a botched abortion, and then they staged it to make it look like she'd hung herself, but that there was blood on her abdomen and everything.
Right.
That would suggest not. But there's different variations to that story. But I think ultimately, I think she wanted to be loved. I think she wanted that relationship and,
Right.
you know, maybe to get married and, you know, and then have the kid and have a family and all that. And so the feeling I got from it when I heard, I was really excited at this EVP, but at the same time, there was this heaviness and sadness to it because I felt like this is what she wanted. And she's looking at the relationship that Josh and I have and was saying, "I love the way you love each other," you know?
And wish that she could have had that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had another experience up on 5 too.
Yeah. So on 5, so there's a part up on 5 where it's almost like a greenhouse, like windows.
It's called the critical care wing.
Yeah. But on each side of this, like glass box, I'm going to call it, there is just the rooftop.
Yep.
And
Now, is the rooftop glass?
no, on each side of this glass thing, it's just open roof.
Okay.
So you can just walk around up there. And so we were over there, and I had looked down to my right on the roof, and I saw what looked like little kid legs running from left to right across that part of the roof. But they were only from the knee down.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So the knee down pair of legs. And they were little legs, so obviously I think it's a kid.
Right.
But yeah, from left to right, they just ran across the roof.
Oh my gosh, how cool.
Which makes sense, because if you ever see pictures of Waverly, there are pictures of that rooftop. Now it's the other side, mind you, but there are pictures of that rooftop, and there's a playground up there.
There was
Because
a swing set.
That's where the little kids played.
That's
The
where
little
the little
kids
kids
stayed up
played.
there.
Oh,
So it made total sense.
yeah.
We also had like a little, I think it was the flashlight, and you were asking them to move the flashlight, and you get this little kid voice that says, no. Like, I'm not going to do that. Don't be ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and, we ask questions like, what do you miss? Do you miss your toys up here? Do you miss your swing set? And we got a EVP that said yes. So yeah, I mean, there's so many good experiences, and it just, honestly, when you go out, for those of you out there that maybe watch this stuff on TV or YouTube, and you listen to these podcasts and things, it's one thing to do that and to be sucked in that way. But if you ever go out and you do it on your own, and you come out with and you come out with an EVP on your digital, I mean, it really sucks you in. And it's like, that is so fascinating. That's so cool. I want more. I want to find out more. I want to experience more.
Yes.
But go for the positive. Stay away from the dark.
And don't antagonize or
Yeah,
encourage that kind of behavior.
that's right. So don't pay attention to those shows where it's always dark and demonic, and don't mess with that stuff.
You'd be surprised how much good there is out there.
There's a lot of good.
I would say most of the stuff that we deal with now are good.
Yeah.
I don't want to say they're like super happy spirits, you know what I'm saying? But
No, sometimes you get one that's a little crotchety and ornery
they were crotchety and ornery
in life.
Yeah. And they just kind of have a crappy attitude, right?
Yeah. But they're not evil.
But it's not evil.
There's a difference.
Huge difference.
But yeah, when you get out there, and my best suggestion is go on a public one.
Yep, that's
But
how I
go-
started.
Yeah, us too. Just go with a reputable group, that doesn't let you, antagonize spirits, that doesn't allow you to be disrespectful to them.
Pays
No,
the
they were-
venue.
Yep. There was they were people once too.
Yep.
So you need to have that respect. And
So what would you say was your defining moment in like, I want to do this long term? Like I want to do this and create a group. Like
it was Waverly, if I'm being honest. So that night we were like the last ones to walk out. We walked out with Steve Gonzalez from Ghost Hunters, and we got in our rental car after we said our goodbyes and stuff, and we got in our rental car, and I just looked at Josh and I said, why can't we start a group? Like, why not? And it was then that we decided, okay, let's start a group. And we did.
and you haven't looked back.
We haven't looked back since.
Nope.
No. This year's been a little bit of a quiet year for us,
It has been.
but we have some good plans for next year. So
We've already got things brewing.
we already got things in the works.
So what would you say was your most exciting moment investigating? And you can't use Waverly again.
Because we've been to some pretty cool
that was
places.
exciting.
It was, yeah, it's amazing.
Exciting.
So exciting we decided to go back a second time because we figured out the price that we paid for the tickets to go and the airline fees and everything else
rental
to
car.
go to Waverly one time with a group was cheaper or was
More
more
expensive.
expensive than renting it out ourselves and driving. So we went back and did it again.
Yeah. In 2019.
Yes.
And there was only 6 of us in that whole building.
Ah,
That was awesome.
So freaking jealous.
That was so awesome. Okay, so I think my most exciting, was the first time we caught anything on video visually.
Okay.
So that was Asylum 49. We went there. We went through, I think, Grimm.
Yeah, it was a grim hunt.
They use it as like a haunted house in the fall and stuff. So it was decorated for that. And we could only go, I think we had run of the whole place that time.
The whole place, because if you guys remember and watch Ghost Adventures, when Ghost Adventures went there, it was a haunted house on half of it,
Right, but
it was a old folks home on the other half.
yes.
Which is horrible.
that is horrible.
Can we just talk about how horrible that decision is?
It's bad. It was so bad.
There's old people ending their lives, and you're on the other
at the end of their
side.
lives. Yeah.
You are
Scaring people with dead people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's kind of messed up.
It's a little morbid.
It's really
I
kind of
bet-
beyond my scope on that.
I bet those people in the old folks' home were probably tormented by spirits from all of the crap that was going on the other side.
You know, I wouldn't
It's
doubt
very
it.
possible.
I
would
don't
not
see
doubt it.
how it couldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's interesting though? I'll say this is one of my old coworkers was born in that hospital
Yeah, he
Really?
was.
when it was Tooele County Hospital. He was
He
born
was.
in that hospital.
That's interesting.
So
I have family in Tooele, so it makes me wonder.
yeah,
Never know. Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
But we went there with Grim Ghost Tours, and the night was kind of winding down at that point. And they had it all decorated for the whole haunted house thing. We went in this room that was called the Egyptian Room. And it was the first time they decorated on this side of the building. And on the floor in this room was like 2+ inches of actual sand.
Oh,
Okay. So, and the reason I want to tell you that is because anytime you moved or took a step, you would really hear it because of the sand.
yeah.
Like it was so obvious.
yes.
So we kind of were in there. There was a couple other people in there at the time. We waited for them to kind of leave, and they left. And it got really quiet in that area that we were in,
Which is what you want.
which is exactly what we wanted. And we're waiting there, and there's like this plexiglass box on top of this table. And in it, they have some items.
Yep.
We set our black light, flashlight, on the table on top of the plexiglass piece. And then we put a digital recorder at the other end. And then to the side of that, we had a K2 meter
Yep.
set up. And then I'm standing with my right arm by this table with this box on it. And I got my rods in my hand. You can't see me on the video because I am wearing all black. And I am out of the light of the black light that's on the table.
Mainly because the black light is facing right at the camera. This was great cinematography.
Yeah, this was, that was all Josh. But anyways,
I've gotten better since then.
and the sound's messed up too. But anyways, I'm standing there with the rods, and you know, at the time I didn't know anything had happened at all. I had a weird feeling because obviously my back, it's dark, and my back, there's like a big space
Behind
behind
you?
me. So, you know, it's dark. You're naturally thinking, you get that kind of creepy feeling like somebody's behind me, right? So I figured that's all normal, you know, no big deal. And Josh asked a question, and well, he's talking. He's like, you know, oh, I'm so-and-so. And, you know, there's a digital recorder right there on the table. And as he says that on the video, you see the K2 spike. And as it spikes, you see this long, creepy, skinny finger with a sharp nail on it come down and point right at the digital recorder.
Actually, just the whole hand with the finger extended.
Right, but the finger's extended. But it comes down and it points at that digital recorder. And then it goes back up out of frame. And then I don't remember what you say after that because the audio on this thing wasn't good.
I didn't. I was just letting them know that they could talk into the thing with the red light on it.
Right, and that's when it pointed to the red light, and then it goes out of frame. But then, like a couple seconds later, you see that K2 meter peg red again. And then as it pegs red, you see this hand, and this is a huge hand. And it's only got 3 fingers, 3 long fingers.
It's like an alien hand.
It's like an alien hand, and it's, you know, and it comes up what would be my right side, my rib cage. And it's like it comes up my right side, it rubs, and then it like cups what would be my breast.
Nope.
And it goes back down out of frame. Now, I had no idea. I didn't feel any of that.
And you were holding your dowsing rods.
I was holding my dowsing rods in my hands, so you know it's not my hand. And I mean, we had no idea. And after that night, a few nights later, Josh was going over the video. He comes and gets me, and he's like, you got to come look at this. So I come look at it, and he shows me, and I'm like blown away. Like it's creepy and amazing all at once, right? And I'm like, no way. So I'm like, I need to get a better look at this. So we move it out to the living room and hook his computer into it so we can put it on a big screen.
Yeah.
Right. And so we watch this thing over and over, and then we start like pausing it just as it comes into frame. And you see just how long and skinny that one finger is when it pointed to the digital recorder. It's really long. You can see the knuckles and you can see the fingernail, and it has a point at the end of the fingernail. And this is a long finger. Like, there is no denying that this is a long finger and this is not normal. And then we'd pause it, when you see the whole hand with just 3 fingers come up, and you can just see every long, gross, wicked looking finger. But we went over this, like, I don't know how many times we watched it, because we were trying to figure out any explanation for this.
Oh, right.
Like anything. Like, we heard nobody, because like I said, there was sand all over the floor. It's like if you put cornmeal on the floor and you walk through it, you can hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
there's
there's no
a crunch
mistaking.
sound.
You're going to hear somebody coming or going. But nobody was even down that area where we were at.
Not at that time.
Not at that time. There was like nobody. We heard no other people. We heard no crunching in that room going through the sand. It was just us. But yeah, like, that is probably the best we've ever caught, like visually.
Isn't that interesting too? Because it's like not a great placement of video.
No.
Not a great placement of light.
Nope.
And one of the first times, like, you record something with the camera.
It was
Yeah.
this was our second ever investigation. So the very first investigation we went on as a team was Fort Douglas
Yep.
with WISPs.
Me.
Yeah.
Advanced
Paranormal at the time.
Advanced Paranormal.
Yeah.
And we were there, and we had just a digital recorder.
And that was it.
And so the second one, I'm like, I want some video cameras. So I actually talked to my work, and they gave me 2 action cameras.
Yeah. They're like GoPros.
Yeah.
That I converted
Mm-hmm.
into full spectrum cameras.
Yeah.
How cool.
Which I still have today. I never use them anymore because they're garbage.
Yeah. Well, they worked really good for what we needed it
They
for
sure
back
did.
then.
Right?
And I'm still blown away at that footage. Like, every now and again, I'll go on our YouTube thing and I'll pull that up and I'll watch it because it's fascinating to me. Like, it's creepy because whatever this is, I don't think it's human. There's
That's
no
not
way
human.
it's human. 3 long, gross fingers. Come on. With big knuckles and nails. That's not human. But whatever it is, I think it was very tall.
Yeah. See? And that's what, like, if you listen to the podcast before this with my story, it's things like that that I saw when I was young coming at me down the hall.
Yeah. And, and while I'm fascinated with the hand, I am actually really glad that we didn't get to see a face.
Oh, yeah.
Because that probably, at the time, especially because we were still very new to it, might have been enough for me to go, no. I don't like dealing with the dark and the evil.
Mm-hmm.
We do run across it from time to time, but mostly what we deal with are pretty positive and
right.
On the lighter side of things.
Do you remember what happened during the tour? That
No.
tour?
Mm-mm. You're going to have to refresh my mind because that was a few years ago.
It was a little while ago.
Yeah.
But we were down where the shadow walks across the door frame.
Is that when he did the demonstration of it?
That was after that. That was after the dowsing rod. Oh, no, sorry. It was after the dowsing rod demonstration.
Oh, is that when the thing whispered in my ear?
Yes. We were standing next to each other, right next to each other.
Yeah, like almost shoulder to shoulder. I don't remember what it said, though. I just remember, I don't remember what it said.
I don't either.
Well, that was a great story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
right?
great story.
That went nowhere.
But the thing that's amazing about it is that we were actually shoulder to shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't hear it, and she did?
And it was in the ear that was next to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't hear a thing.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
But
to
I
me.
did get whispered in that one of the reasons why we went back to that room and then we got that video is, one, they had experiences in that room where they were getting handprints from inside
That plexiglass
box.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And so
It sounded like someone beating on it, trying to get out. They said they would hear that a lot. And when they go look at it, there'd be handprints on the inside.
so of course, we're going to go check it out, right?
Yeah. that's what kind of prompted us to go in there and then wait for other people to leave and then kind of try our own thing in there.
But I did have one little experience next to that box on our way out. I was the last person out of the room. And there's this little cubby hole, enough for someone to stand in, essentially. And as we're walking by that cubby hole on the way out, I'm the last person out. I get a whisper in my ear on that side. This is see you soon.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
You're like, that's cool.
We'll be back.
Yeah, we also went in the room with, they call it the nun room because they had like that scary nun in there, figure in there as a prop. But it was reported that there was, I think, a little girl in there and that she loves Skittles. They said if you put them on the table, if you sit at the table and you put them on the table and you squish them with your thumb, you know, she'll come by, she'll smell them and come by. And so I happen, because I'm diabetic, I always carry little things of candy, and I happen to have a bag of Skittles.
Perfect.
And so I pulled them out, and we put some on the table and squished them, and we were doing an EVP session, and I was asking her, you know, do you like Skittles? And I go, what's your favorite? And I go, is it the red one? And you hear what sounds like this little girl's voice come over the digital, and she goes, maybe. You know, so that was really cool when we listened to that. We caught that one too.
And you went through every color of the rainbow, and there was
but
there was no answer.
Only on the red one was there a response. So I love moments like that too.
That reminds me of the show Ghosts, because they like to smell food. So every time he makes dinner, they're all like surrounded him, and they're like,
yeah.
Oh, this smells so good. What does it taste like?
Make a frozen pizza. Oh, no, but we've had lots of experiences. And
yeah. What has been your number one place to investigate here in Utah?
In Utah.
Or in the western part of the United States?
AKA. Well, not AKA, but
not Waverly.
Not Waverly.
Yeah, no, I know.
Because the thing is once you investigate there, it's
I
your
know,
favorite
it's
everything.
Like, how can you not say Waverly?
You know, one that really kind of creeped me out was actually Gooding.
Yeah.
That one it got a little intense. I want to go back though.
Me too.
I really want to go back. I feel like we kind of missed out on some stuff, but the experiences we had there were really good. Well, we had some incident and it seemed to
ramp things
up and call in everything that was not good
in the entire area.
It's like it's like this, you know, Morse code went out and they all just filtered in, and it felt like they were surrounding everything.
Oh yeah. Cause we were basically in a circle.
Yeah.
And we're in this long room that it's like, you have like a living room, a dining room, and a kitchen all combined on a huge floor plan.
Yes.
So they're not small rooms. So it's a big giant room all in one.
Yeah. And it just, when this incident happened, it's like this beckoning called them all in, all these nasty things, and they surrounded us, and you could feel it.
And you could feel it come closer and closer. And I had my eyes wide. And
she did. She got up and they were closing the curtains because she's like, they're in here, they're surrounding us, they're out there, they're looking through the windows. So she got up and she was like trying to close the curtains that were. And
I was like, we need to push these back. Like,
we need to pray. We need to say a prayer. We need to. But I remember Elisa had to go to the bathroom
so bad.
She was like she had to go so bad. Like she was bursting. And Josh and I are sitting on the couch. It's by one of the doors, which we had closed, that leads out into the hallway, and then across the hallway is the rooms. And Elisa's like, I really got to go. She gets up, she walks around Josh and I, she goes to the door, she opens the door, and the minute she takes a step out, there is a audible growl. Like, it was not subtle. Josh and I heard it because we're sitting right there on the couch by the door. And of course, Lisa heard it because it was probably right in her face.
It was right in my ear. Like, right in my ear. Like, right in front of me.
Yeah.
And I turned around, I was like, nope.
She stepped right back in.
I think we're lucky she didn't go right there.
I know, right?
I could have, like, totally pooed my pants. Well, that's done.
She had one in the chamber, folks. Yeah. But I mean, that was intense. It was very intense. But after we all like said the prayer and stuff, it did lifted, and you could feel it lift up and off. But that night, one of the rooms that Josh and I were staying at was one of the rooms that's supposed to be active.
You're right.
You know, as far as spirit activity. We were laying down to go to bed, and he was like facing the window, and I'm, you know, so basically we're like butt to butt basically, because I'm facing the door and on my side, and I kind of got the covers pulled up like over my nose. So my eyes and my forehead are out, but the rest of me is like snuggled in. And we have like a heater in the room that's going, you know, and so the room was getting toasty, and I'm like starting to drift off, and I got my eyes closed, and I feel what feels like an Arctic breeze blowing in my face, like out of nowhere. Like I'm not facing a window. There's no wind outside even. Like we have the heater going, but this is like someone came up and blew in my face like ice cold air. And I open my eyes, I'm looking around, there's nothing there. Like I see no one. Josh is facing the other way. His butt's towards me. And I roll over and I'm like, someone just blew cold air in my face. He's half asleep and he's like, oh, that's cool. You know? So he didn't even really register any of it at all. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I was excited about it. But I eventually fell asleep. And when we woke up, and I get up and I go in the bathroom to take a shower. And when I come out, he's like, you know, I was laying here. And he's like, I'm just kind of laying here with my eyes closed. And he's like, and somebody blew cold air in my face.
You're like, really? Did that happen to you?
I just started
Imagine how that would work.
I'm like, you don't say. But yeah, Gooding is probably that one's a good one for me. Even though there was that dark, I think it's just everything that happened, you know, just, it really kind of shows you when you experience something like that, it shows you how quickly it can turn kind of sour.
When invited.
It was not invited by us. But I just believe that because of what transpired within our team at that time, I think that they viewed us as targets.
Oh, for sure.
And so it was like a beacon.
It wasn't like a little beacon. We were like the giant, like everybody come here, like giant
it's like we had a big
sign.
Old spotlight.
Yep. Just, you know, but it also shows that, you know, as a team, we, you know, kind of stopped and did what we needed to do to push it back.
And that just shows you the power of the human body.
That's right. You have a say. You have a voice.
And how powerful you are over the negative.
That's right.
Yeah.
And to never forget that.
Yeah.
So when you do encounter things like that, realize how powerful you are and use that to your advantage.
Exactly.
Silly watch. So, what would be your one dream investigation location?
Yeah. Well, like any of you sitting around here, that's hard. That's hard because there's so many, right? I think one, if I have to say here in the U.S.
Anywhere. It can be anywhere.
I want to go to Gettysburg.
Been there.
Yep. I want to go and I want to do like multiple nights.
Yep.
I don't want to do one. I want to do at least 2+. And I really want to investigate the crap out of that place.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Well,
like even just sitting there.
Well, and they let you.
Yeah.
Like it's, so I just got back a few weeks ago. And they allow for 30 minutes after dark for people to go and investigate.
That's awesome.
30 minutes.
30 minutes after dark. But that just kind of tells you how prevalent, like, ghost hunting is out there. Mm-hmm. Because in general, you go anywhere and, like, all the parks, you can't go to after dark.
Oh, yeah, they close them.
Or a specific time, they'll close it. But in Gettysburg, you have 30 minutes after dark. I mean, they're acknowledging the fact that people are interested.
Yeah. But I'm not talking about just at night.
You
I'm
could
talking
go
about day.
anytime.
Well, and
Yeah.
they have, like, there are several people who have had paranormal experiences at Gettysburg in the broad daylight.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, well, me, my friend, and I, when we went and investigated there, like, I shouldn't say investigated, but we walked around and did our own thing on the first day.
Yeah.
And we're like, let's just sit here and see what we find, see what we
Right?
come up with. Because we're both sensitive to that stuff, right? And did we get stuff?
Yeah.
And it was cool because we would see things like in our heads, right? And then all of a sudden we'd both talk about it at the exact same time and say the same thing.
That's great.
Like, it was really fun.
That's so fun. But I mean, one thing about investigating is you do sit there a lot. And I know that, you know, for a lot of people, and it is kind of boring. I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, you have to have patience. You really do.
yeah.
You know, you can't expect to go in a place and then have a ton of stuff going on. It's not a TV show. And you got to forget. You can't forget. You got to remember that on these TV shows, they
They're investigating for like 8 hours.
Yeah, well, they actually do it over multiple nights, and then they have to edit, and then that gets edited down. So in a lot of episodes, when you see a lot going on, that you got to remember that's not all in one night, typically.
Not
you
typically. But even the most active places we've been, and there are times we've had a lot of activity.
Yeah.
But that's still over the course of 8 to 12 hours.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, and you get done, you're like, whoa, that was a long night.
Yeah,
But-
we've pulled all-nighters.
But yeah, you get, 20. 20 is a great night. You get usually 5 or 6 things that happen if you're super lucky.
Right.
So, everybody, if you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, and find us on our socials.
Yeah.
And as always, stay ghosty, my peeps.
Hey, I'm Gina,
And I'm Amber.
and we're here to bring you the Weird True Crime Podcast, where we cover true crime cases that will leave you asking yourself, did that really happen?
We'll dive into questionable cases throughout history that are solved, unsolved, or just plain unbelievable.
We'll also talk about the quirkier side of true crime in episodes we like to call What the F Wednesday.
So be sure to subscribe and listen on your favorite podcast service.
Thank you for listening to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. You can find us on social media at Twitter at CPR Paranormal, on Facebook at Paranormal Peeps Podcast and Cold Spot Paranormal Research. And you can find us on Instagram at coldspot_paranormal_research.